Yeah, we can go live. I'm not going to say anything controversial.
All right, we're live.
I won't say anything controversial.
Okay.
I won't.
Oh, that's my one.
That's your one. Oh, we're live now.
Oh, we
So,
are. Oh, we are.
hello, Facebook.
Hello.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Woo.
Hope you're all well. It's coming at you from Premiership headquarters here in the Byron Shire. The Mighty D's.
Yes. Go the
Mighty
D's.
Gee whiz.
Wow, it's a grand old flag. I've got to tell you, how unbelievable was that? That was just next level. What a great game. Congratulations. Helen Pocock, first cab off the rank. I love it how you do that, Helen.
She's gold medalist every time, don't you reckon?
Gold medalist.
Helen Pocock?
Yeah. Oh, I could hear myself again. I was going, where am I?
No, it's coming through your phone. I think your headphones in your phone.
I did.
Playing funny buggers.
Ravs is there.
Ravi Radner.
Happy birthday, Ravs. Happy birthday, Ravs.
Happy birthday to you. Good on you. I was going to say happy birthday, Helen. You know, remember that?
Happy birthday, Helen. Yeah, Things of Stone and Wood. Things of Stone and Wood.
Is it Things of Stone and Wood? It is too.
Yeah.
$500 million, Stone and Wood.
Oh, $500 million.
500 million they sold for.
Did they?
Maybe 550.
Oh, as in the beer company.
They sold to Lion Nathan. And the Byron Shire is up in arms because our big independent beer's gone private. They got another entrepreneurial Byron business gone too big for their boots is what the word on the street. Share this video with friends before we hit record.
I am. Don't you worry. I just
right.
never know who to share it to. You know, like
I just say this is a big one. There we go.
I do the Ikaria longevity retreat. Do you do that one? I do the wellness couch tribe. I do like quite a few.
Everyone, all right. The exceptionals.
Maybe I should hijack the quirky gaps group. What do you reckon? I hijack that one.
Don't be one of those people. Those people that just come in. This may be my favourite part of the podcast. Ravs, I get nervous at how boring this part of the podcast might be for the people that like, can you guys just get into it and play? But Ravs, given that you and Mars, who we send our love and healing support to, do such a great job of ad-libbing and recording that ad-lib, and it's actually quite entertaining to listen to.
It is. It's so funny.
The inner TV and radio producer in me is sweating
bullets
during this part of the proceedings. But I would never, before we hit record, the last thing I'll say about the football is, and I say this with love and respect, but great frustration as well. For anyone here that cares about what happened on the weekend, Melbourne won their first AFL Grand Final in 57 years. Hold the line, Pete Lennon, because we are featuring your question today.
Yeah. Don't go anywhere, Pete.
The MC after the game, Basil Zemplis.
Baz, jeepers.
When we say you only had one job, for an MC, they often have 27 jobs. But one of the biggest, most anticipated speeches of the grand final is from the captain and then the coach.
Yes.
Captain comes up after 57 years and says, after 57 years of pain, we're bringing it home. And then everybody welcomes Simon Goodwin to the stage to collect his medal, the coach.
Yeah.
And he collects his medal and Basil just takes the mic and carries on, and Simon Goodwin doesn't get to say his victory speech, which Melbourne supporters have been waiting 57 years to hear. And it's like, you only had one job! Anyway, we all got a little bit frustrated. Anyway, now let's get recording here because I'm getting nervous that we're just going to turn everyone away here.
Yeah.
All right. Pete Lennon's a bit nervous that he's going to miss out on an episode that features his question.
Oh, dear.
But
the great thing is with podcast, Pete, they're recorded. You'll be all right.
If you didn't know.
You'll be
Did you know? Yeah. It's amazing.
Yeah. Absolutely.
All right. This is going to be 4:46, I think.
Did we do 4:46 a couple of weeks ago?
Oh, I don't know. 45. I'll make it 4:47.
How do we know?
It doesn't matter. It don't have to be right. It's all right. It's just fun. Okay.
You're starting to sound like Ravi and Murray.
Here we go.
They're at like episode 20.
All right. Here we go. In 3, 2, and 1. Hello and welcome to 100 Not Out, a weekly show dedicated to helping you master the art of aging well. Marcus Piercy with you for the 447th time, we think, here
Possibly.
with the number one wellness expert in Australia. He is the king of curly conversations. I speak of no other but Dr. Damien Christoph. How are you, brother?
Hello, brother. What a great weekend we've just witnessed. And I know that we're time stamping this, but I don't really care. This will go in the vault. This will go in the time capsule. This is one of those moments that we should celebrate. Congratulations to the Melbourne Demons. The D's, what a great effort. That was one of the great grand finals, I have to say. And my team, the Richmond Tigers, have won some almighty grand finals in the last couple of years. But that one, Piercy, will be in my memory and in my heart forever because it was a great, great day. And it was great. It's great to see your flag flying again. So congratulations.
You're a good man, Damo. Thanks for the love and for all the listeners. And some people don't like sport, but they do like happy stories. And There's been a lot of heaviness over the last 18 months. And I think society was just yearning for a good news story. And there's nothing like exercising 57 years of demons and banishing a Norm Smith curse that had lasted a test of time. We're a happy team at Melbourne, that's for sure.
Pete says it's boring. Oh, get off.
Yeah, I know. That's why I mean. A lot of people don't like it. So that's why we are going to go to something a little bit more controversial than football. And that is a question from Pete Lennon. He probably just wants his question answered, which is why I'm saying the football's boring. Because we've had a question from Pete and we're both a little bit excited to talk about this, Damo, because I think we feel it a lot. In the so-called wellness industry. I'm going to get straight into the question because we both want to talk about the answer. Yep. Question from loyal listener, Pete Lennon. Gentlemen, I have a question I think would be good to explore. Given that healthy people have better outcomes than those who are chronically sick against COVID, have us involved in the wellness industry squandered an incredible opportunity to influence a greater population by being caught up in all sorts of conspiracy narratives? This is a general question, not aimed at individuals, and certainly not you guys. I mean, wow, get the bow and arrow out. This is one for the curly questions.
Yeah, it's a curly one, Pete, but you are right. But I think one of the things that we need to remember is that this isn't necessarily a wellness industry thing. Like, one thing that we've got to be mindful of and remember that we should always be doing is trying to make ourselves as healthy as we can be so that the rest of our life can be the best of our life, right? So this is very, very important. Regardless of the narrative of the time and of the situation and what's happening in the world at the moment, the thing about wellness is that it's meant to be, it's an individual's expression of their experience in the world that helps them live a better life. That's really what it is. It's not like it's a profession. So there's no wellness profession. And I know I call myself a wellness professional in terms of my tagline, but that's because I'm a chiropractor and a naturopath. So inside of wellness, there's professionals that have gone on to study, and then they're in that sort of space. And if we're to be honest with it, there's so many different types of ways in which you can measure health. Like if I bumped into a vegan who's involved in the wellness industry, and she found out or he found out that I ate honey, then there's no way on the planet that I could be seen to be healthy. Likewise, as a hardcore carnivore, if I was doing the caveman diet, for example, if I bumped into a vegan, there's no way on the planet I would ever think that they could be healthy, but they would think that they're really healthy. Then, if from an omnivore perspective...
And they would both be in the wellness industry.
Both in the wellness industry, and they can't... Yep. They're never meeting. The vegans never meeting, are they? They're never coming together.
Oh, I just got it. Great dad joke.
Bad joke.
So good.
Bad joke. So they're never ever going to get, they're going to meet. So, and then as I'm an omnivore. I'll eat some animal product and I'll eat lots of vegetables. I'll even have some lemon tart if my mum gives me some. And so I love all that sort of stuff. and I'm much more relaxed around my diet. But then I would think, what are the other things that I do to be healthy? So am I exercising, drinking water? Do I take some vitamins from time to time? Am I buying organic food? Like all these sorts of things are the considerations. And I score myself as healthy in that regard. Could people be healthier than me? Possibly, and most likely. Definitely there's more people out there that are fitter than me. There's others that are way worse than me, but we don't necessarily know what is healthy. All that we know about doing better from COVID is that if we're healthier, we're less toxic, we're eating better food, we don't have chronic disease. If we're in that space, if we're in that level of health, then we're more likely to do better from the avoidance of long COVID complications. That's what we know. Now, I'll come back to you in a second, PC. With the idea of getting embroiled in conspiracy theories, I don't know if that's only confined to the wellness space. I think there's people in all kinds of industries and different environments that might have, been drawn into conversations and fear-mongering and rhetoric, regardless of which camp you're on. So whether it's I understand the COVID thing or I don't understand the COVID thing, whatever it is, or people have been drawn into a narrative, and the longer this goes on, the more that people bunker down and knuckle down into their belief system, and that in itself, I think, is actually unhealthy. Because people start to fight for what it is that they believe in. And really, this isn't meant to be a religion. This is just meant to be something that's happening. So anyway, what say you, great man, PC?
I think your comments about just the width of, or the wellness is not as simple as, the wellness industry has very much been pigeonholed into health foods and F45 and CrossFit and a few lines of practitioners. But you and I have even been having conversations. I don't know if it's on air or off air, but let's just have a quick conversation here. I'll have a conversation with myself if no one cares to have it, and that is about the big V. There are some people whose wellness is actually improved. People are going to hate me for saying this, for having the big V, because their mental health and their social health feels so much more at ease, rather than the challenges they felt when they weren't having it. Yep. I'm just put myself out there and say I'm pro-choice. I'm so selfish. I don't care however you live your life. I don't care what you eat. I don't care what job you want to have. I don't care what car you want to drive. I just want you to do you, and I just want to do me. And it's not something I lose sleep over at night, how everyone is living their lives. That's just me. Mm-hmm. But I feel like wellness has that same level of width as a definition. If we talk about the wellness industry, if you Google it, you're gonna get caught into health channels or pharmacy channels, because you can go into Chemist Warehouse and buy protein powder, but you can also go there and get some hard pharmaceutical drugs. So what we're really saying, well, what I'm saying is that wealth is a tapestry with millions of threads in it. You can have the greatest diet but have the sickest family life. You can be the best exerciser but have no friends. You can have financial wellness but have career sickness. Wellness is something that is so wide, that has a maturity and a wisdom that none of us can ever know really until I think we're really old and grey and we've lived our lives and made our mistakes and got some perspective. I was even just talking to Sarah about a 30-year-old versus a 40-year-old. Like I listen to 30-year-olds who are so determined to carve out a career. And Damo, you and I have had these conversations where you've guided me because you're a cycle of 7 years older than I am. Like we're at different phases of life. We always will be. And I learned so much from that. And I would say, like when you and I met, I was a vegan that thought that wellness was vegan and vegan was wellness, and everything else was not failure, but everything else was unconscious behavior because there was only one way to be well. I probably thought it was two-pronged attack. See a chiropractor, eat vegan, and maybe do some aerobic exercise, anaerobic was overrated. Yeah, and drink water. Yeah. So I think
and rub
as
coconut oil all over you.
Coconut oil, shave with avocado, all of that. As we get older, I think, and we have life experiences and the rest, I think our definition, if we're listening to the world, I think our definition of wellness broadens, because we recognize that life isn't as simple as what you eat and drink and how you move and so on.
Yes. Yeah, true. I agree with all of that. And I think it's also really important. And you said something before that kind of made me feel like we needed to call this out again. But I'll go back to what I will say is that we've got to be careful in our space that we don't judge, because, and you said I'm pro-choice, and in that clarification of being pro-choice, that means that you're pro-decision. So when someone decides, and they decide to do whatever it is that they're going to do, if you're pro-choice, then you're okay with everybody else's decision. And I think that's also really important, because if you are pro-choice, that doesn't mean that you're pissed off because someone made a decision that's different to yours. That's not pro-choice. That's pro your agenda. You've got to be open to whatever decision somebody makes and be totally fine with that. Both sides. See, I caught up with someone recently and they said, I'm okay with whatever people choose and I'm not going to apply any pressure. But
oh dear.
there comes a time, this person said, there comes a time when you've got to do what's right for society. And I was like, oh, okay, that's really interesting that you could be okay with everything, but like it just kind of doesn't, I don't think that's real. And so then we had to have a conversation about that, and that's a perspective, right? So if you're if you are pro-choice, then you're pro-decision, and you're okay with everyone's decision. Otherwise, you're not pro-choice. And so I think that's a really important thing to consider and to keep in mind. And that goes back to our judgy, podcast that we did. Was that last week or 2 weeks ago? Judgy.
It was a great chat whenever it was.
It was a great chat. And, thank you so much, Pete, for getting me to talk about that and to have me thinking about that particular topic, because I think that was a really good one. But going back to Pete Lennon's question, he says, have we missed an opportunity? And I don't think we've missed an opportunity. In fact, there's a lot of people that are making better decisions. I'm having more people ask me, what can I do to help my body be better? This isn't a time for marketing. This is, we're in the middle of a crisis within the world. Some people might call it a pandemic. I'm calling it a crisis, because there's other things that are attached to the pandemic of the virus, such as pandemic of mental health issues, or a pandemic of loneliness, or a pandemic of obesity, or a pandemic of cholesterol issues,
Netflix
or whatever it's going
consumption.
to be. So exactly. So there's so much that goes with it. We're in a crisis. This is a world crisis. And so when we consider where we're at, this isn't a time for marketing, and the people will follow those who lead. And so it's really important for us to be aware that if our behaviors are visible, people will either be attracted to those behaviours or they won't be attracted to those behaviours, and they'll look for someone else who is more attractive to follow their behaviours. So it's not a marketing exercise right now, and I don't think we've missed an opportunity. I think that if we stay strong and we maintain vigilance around what it is that we do to stay healthy, then we position ourselves better for the future.
And just on the conspiracy narratives and the rest, I just think it's important, and I've said this to so many people over the years, is that without sickness, there is no, for want of a better term, wellness industry. It's not the right. Without sickness, there is no wellness. Without poverty, there is no wealth. Without hate, there is no love, and all the rest of it. So, DeMartini has said with us, or in other interviews, he calls COVID Saint COVID, which is a great trigger for people that feel like it is just all doom and gloom. I love Damo's redefinition of a crisis, because really, what do a lot of great leaders say? Never waste a good crisis. There are some really big opportunities for growth on an individual level, and I think those individual opportunities are around compassion, around acceptance of everyone. And I honestly mean that. Like, people that do the opposite behavior to you in your life are still worthy of our love and acceptance. And if we can do that, like, personally, I feel like life is a lot easier to live
Yeah.
when we can accept people for the most wildly different behavior to ours.
Yep.
We've spoken about this many times before, interviewing Holocaust survivors that forgive their perpetrators. I mean, they were acting in the most wildly opposite ways to themselves, and they still found ways to forgive. And I think there are times when we feel like we want to kill certain people and that we hate certain people, and then if we go down the
Only one
conspiracy
person.
path,
Yeah.
if we go down the conspiracy path that like people are against us and there's an agenda and all of the rest of it, but personally, I'll just say this: I don't believe there's a massive. I don't believe six leaders that are as narcissistic as six leaders could sit around a table and all come to agreement together. I just don't think it can happen that way. I'm happy for people to disagree with me, and that's what I love about society. We all have different views. Having these conspiracy narratives are great dinner party conversations for about 15 minutes.
Not even that long.
Yeah, maybe 7.5.
Yeah.
But
Maybe a minute.
maybe a minute. But that's what makes society great. We've said it before. It's called diversity.
Yes.
Let's use
And
sport. There are
inclusiveness.
18 teams in the AFL. If everyone barracked for one team,
Yeah.
the competition couldn't exist.
That's right.
There are 18 diverging views on who the best team is.
Yeah.
That's called diversity.
I think we need 20.
Yeah. Well, they're talking about 19th. We need to embrace it.
Yeah.
And I think that for me allows this, and even the conspiracy theorists, like I embrace them too. I'll give them my ear, but I if it's not inclined to be for me, I definitely don't feel compelled to go down the rabbit hole every night till 4 a.m. and then get up the next day and do it again. That's just not me, but
Yeah.
I'm happy for it to be someone else.
Well, can I just say that the further down the rabbit hole you go, now there is a great movie called What the Bleep, and then the sequel to that is How Far Down the Rabbit Hole?
I don't think I ever saw the sequel.
Yeah, I think it's called How Far Down the Rabbit Hole. And so that is a great reminder of the power of your mind. So What the Bleep, How Far Down the Rabbit Hole, The Secret, that whole treacle, what are they called?
A 3-part series.
It's a 3-part series. What is it? Trilogy. The trilogy.
Trilogy.
The
Thank you.
trilogy.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
That trilogy reminds you of the power of the mind, the power of the brain. Now, as I said before, the longer this goes on for, the longer and the more dug in you'll become with regards to the narrative of the information that you choose to absorb and digest. Now, if you have decided on a particular narrative, which has meant that you're watching lots of clips and information on the internet, and you may be reading lots of different research articles and all of those sorts of things, if that's leading you in a particular way, but it's stressing you out to the point that you're getting angry, it's actually causing you ill health. You're actually becoming unhealthy by being so stressed out about it. And that emotional stress, that emotional barrage and that emotional trauma that you're creating on your body is enormous. And so when we talk about subluxation from a chiropractic perspective, we talk about what are the causes of subluxation, and a massive cause of subluxation is emotion. And if you continue to be emotional about it, then you are moving down an unhealthy pathway. Now, a really interesting thing here that's just come through as a message, and I think we should actually bring this up, and I'm pretty sure, obviously, Pete is happy to talk about this, given that he's posted it onto Facebook. He goes, the irony, in other words, the irony is that we're answering his question about wellness, just got out of the GP, elevated blood pressure, have been asked to make lifestyle changes. Otherwise, ... Medication. Medication. I think that's amazing. So then I'd go back to the point that I was just making only moments ago, and that is the anxiety and the stress attached to the narrative of what's going on at the moment, whichever narrative you choose. If you allow that to create and perpetuate and manifest stress in your body that alters your sleep or the quality of your sleep or your energy through the day or your equilibrium, your homeostasis. If this is all being derailed, upset, railroaded, whatever you want to say, then maybe you need to take a bit of a check in and just go, maybe I'm getting unhealthy as a result of chasing this narrative, and you could be causing your blood pressure to rise.
And what if we just consumed the narrative of our friends and family, and we consumed that narrative and had those conversations rather than the narrative of Facebook or Instagram or Channel 9 or so-called independent ABC, which is anything but? We can't continue to think that being informed is a sign of wellness, because if you ask anyone that's informed at the moment, they are emotional about what they're informed about. And as Damo just said, it's called cortisol, folks. Stress is going to, and that hyper informed ticker of the same news that's being fed day in, day out, if that is making you cranky, or if that is making you despondent about the world or the rest of it, then it's just got to be cut, because you get down to wellness. There's no feelings of wellness when that consumption begins to feel draining. And I think that's why we say, Damo and I probably don't talk often enough. I know I could do a lot better at calling you more often, Damo, and letting you be my news rather than other, like let friends be your news. Don't let the news be your news, is what I'm trying to say.
That's even dangerous, because birds of a feather will flock together. So you'll still seek those people that share your views. I think what's important is to absorb the news and not react to it. I think that's the thing, because
I think that's a 2.0. That is so much easier said than done for a lot of people. That's why I don't tend to go, that's an art.
But it is an art, and a 2.0 is correct. However, News 2.0 is the consumption of information without reaction. And the consumption of information without reaction will determine your physiological response and disease manifestation. So you want to be super careful of that, because as you become subluxated in your thought, you become subluxated in your body, and subluxation will create dis-ease. And dis-ease within the body over a long period of time will lead to ill health, and that's not what we want. So we want to stay away from that. So try to avoid subluxation in your life, is what I would say.
This has been an engrossing conversation. Hope everyone that has watched and listened to it has enjoyed it. We could always make a lot of these chats a double or a triple episode, Damo. There's a few curly conversations in there that we haven't quite, well, I feel like we haven't closed the loop on, because I've still got some thoughts in there, but I'll have to sit on them for another week or two. We've got a litany of questions coming in from our community. If you are yet to submit your question,
yes,
all you have to do is email marcus@marcuspearce.com.au or Facebook or Instagram message us at 100 not out on Facebook or at 100.notout on Insta. And if you're lucky, or if your question prods us into a conversation, we will dedicate maybe a whole, maybe a half, maybe a quarter, depending on the question. To an episode of 100 Not Out. Just a quick one. Shout out to Marlena, who is a neighbour, a friend, who I bumped into. I didn't bump into her, because you can't bump into people these days. I saw Marlena at the market on Tuesday morning, and she said, "Marcus, listening to your podcast, love it." And I was like, Marlena, that is so kind of you. She started at episode 444 and is working her way backwards. When she's 250, she might get back to episode 01. See how many episodes we've done now.
A lot.
Grateful to have people discovering us for the first time, Damo. Had another friend, another neighbour, Yannick, who started at the coffee, wine and chocolate conversation. He thoroughly enjoyed it. Whilst we were having a beer together the other night, which wasn't in the episode, we were having a beer together talking about coffee, wine and chocolate. He thoroughly loved that episode. So whether you have been with us for years or you are a new listener of the podcast, welcome to the 100 Not Out community. We love having you here. Share this podcast with a friend. And when you do, tell them about Dr. Damien Christoph, damienchristoff.com and vitalifestyles.com. Vita Lifestyles in Sandringham, 22S Abbott Street, if I'm not mistaken. And for myself, marcuspierce.com.au. Until next week, folks, thanks again for listening, and may the rest of your life be the best of your life.
Bye for now.
Oh, that was good.
That was great. Now, Piercy, and everybody on Facebook, I watched Ada Murky's funeral today.
Ada Murky's.
What a beautiful soul.
We're going to release an episode of Ada.
We both said exactly the same thing at the same time, which means it must be true. She was a beautiful soul, and the stories that I was listening to with the children, the grandchildren talking, was just... It's really nice. There was a man there, and he would have been probably our age, and he called her Nana, and it was really nice, you know, like it was just really nice. And they were in a church, and the prayers were really beautiful. It was just really nice. It was a great send-off for Ada. Well, do you know what Ada's real name is? Did you know before you saw it today?
No, I don't. I've always called her Ada. It's probably on what? Oh, don't tell me. Yeah, just tell me, because I'll go looking for it in a minute.
Adelaide.
Adelaide. That's right.
Adelaide. Yes. But she's from Europe. So anyway, I found that amazing.
Oh, so she was actually born.
Yeah.
Adelaide Murky's. Well, that's incredible. I was going to say, surely that's a translation, but
isn't that amazing?
That is incredible.
Yeah. So anyway.
And we didn't give it enough in the interview we did with her because she's just so humble. But Ada created one of the biggest swimwear labels in Australia.
I know, right?
Fashion icon. Ada Swimwear.
And some of the photos were beautiful. Oh my gosh, you know, like just to see her in her heyday, in the prime of her life, you know, down the beach with the kids, just unbelievable. You know, such beautiful photos in there, and you know, to all of Ada's family, and in particular to Alice, who we've had a lot to do with. You know, our sincerest condolences go out to you and to your family, and the world will be forever blessed that Ada came by and stopped in and said g'day, and we'll all miss her. She was a beautiful woman. So,
and in memory of Ada, we are going to release our interview with Ada.
Yep.
In the next week or two. So listen out for that. After we finish on Facebook here, Damo, let's record a new intro for that episode.
Yeah, great idea.
Yeah.
We could do a series of interviews or a series of new releases, and I wonder whether or not people, if there's anybody still there's 7 people watching, if you think this is a good idea, some of our fallen heroes. And so we could actually re-release a whole host of them, and they could all come out. You know, they don't have to replace our normal 100 Not Out podcasts, but they can also just be re-released. So we can kind of go, okay, let's look back on Tommy Hafey, let's look back on obviously Alice Murky's, or Isabel Wallace, or did you hear the helicopter going over?
Yeah. I was like, is that my kids or is that you? No, that's you.
There must be. You know what that is? There must be a riot.
It's all falling apart down there in Melbourne town.
Might get an earthquake scene. You know, if you think that's a great idea, we'd love to do that. I would love to do that. I'd love to. I think it'd be great.
Definitely do it. Definitely do it for the 4 or 5 guests that we've had that have passed away. I think that's absolutely where to start, because it is paying homage to their legacy.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So let's record that.
We'll do it.
All right, Facebook.
Take care, Facebook. See you later, everyone.
Love to you all.
Bye for now.
Bye for now.